This is an episode of Midcard Mana. We got over here the loose cannon. And thank God, Allison, the future world champ.
Actually, the champ right now.
The champ and the future, the once and present champ.
I'll just hit the table.
And this is Sam Killer, the wrestling connoisseur, and we are talking about AEW.
Thanks for the beer.
Yeah. I'm a good brother.
You're a good sister.
Yeah. So this is our AEW video officially. Because there are a couple things that I made sure we didn't talk about before this video. So the one big thing that I'm really excited about with AEW, and they have their big show that's coming up. As I slowly lose my hat, but their big show coming up in Vegas, which I'm probably going to with my parents, but I might just be going by myself. But that is Double or Nothing. That's over Memorial Day weekend, and that kind of runs right into Starrcade. Or not Starrcade, WrestleCade, I think. Or WrestleCon or something over in Vegas.
I'm gonna go to Double or Nothing.
And the cool thing with Double or Nothing is one of their big matches is Hangman Page versus the Bastard Pac. So, formerly Adrian Neville in the WWE, he's been really kind of on fire since he's come back to the independent circuit.
Hit a Dragon Gate?
Dragon Gate, and he currently is a title holder over in Dragon Gate.
Which isn't that where like he had a lot of success over Dragon Gate before, I believe, yeah.
Yes.
Dude's looking just humongous.
Yeah.
Which is
impressive because he's tiny.
Yeah, he's a little guy. I expect this match to steal the show.
Tear down the house, absolutely.
And it should have a match it should have parts for everybody just in this one match.
Oh yeah.
It's going to have spots, hopefully not too spotty, but Hangman Page and Pac are really good wrestlers. As Neville, as the king of the cruiserweights, he showed a whole new side.
Are you okay? All right.
And really turned me into a fan at that point because I didn't like his spotty work on the main roster,
which I think was more when he was a face.
Yeah.
And then once he turned heel, that was when he was kind of going more.
Yeah, and I mean he didn't want to be there for one. And he's there with other high flyers, so the obvious choice was to ground his work.
Yeah. And I mean, he would still do the Red Arrow every so often, but...
It was great work. He
showed a lot more versatility using the Rings of Saturn.
Yeah.
For one, just his kind of going back to really his, not roots per se, but...
The wrestling fundamentals.
The catch wrestling that he was very familiar with. So it was...
So I'm actually really excited for that match because
I am too. That's the match actually I'm most excited for.
Hangman Page is, in my opinion, geared to be the star of AEW
Which
for the long term.
I really hope so because he's still super young.
Yeah.
And he's still growing. Yeah, and I mean, especially over this past year and a half, 2 years, you see improvement in every single match, and you see him a lot. But you see the things that he's changed and kind of gotten better at, perfected the sort of the buckshot lariat that he does.
Yeah.
Just little things that he does that really shows that he is going to be the future of this company.
Yeah, and I mean they've kind of hinted at it, and I think
he's gotten better character work too.
Yeah, for the fact that, well, I mean, on being the elite, he showed his range of what
definitely.
I think the fact that WWE offered him main roster pay to be in NXT says a huge amount. That he turned down to go to AEW. So, looking for big things out of this match. I don't know where they'll put it on the card. I almost feel like this should be the match to open the show. Because it's going to be so good. You know, you don't want that to go on like before your main event.
Yeah.
Obviously. So, yeah. Looking forward to that.
They've resurrected the Jericho versus Kenny Omega feud.
A lot of people are complaining about this, but let's be serious. This is a match everybody wants to see.
Yeah. And I mean, their first match together was really good. It was one of Jericho's highest rated matches.
Yeah.
If we're going by the Meltzer scale, which is, you know, sort of
de facto
debatable also in the world of wrestling, in wrestling opinions, but you can't deny that was one of Jericho's really best matches. And
it was really good.
Yeah. And you got to see a lot out of Jericho that we haven't gotten to see in years.
And I think for Kenny too.
Definitely, even though it was just 5 stars for Kenny, not 6 or 7.
Well, I think it's a different match than what he has had in Japan, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm not sure what else is going to be on this card, but...
The Young Bucks versus Phoenix and Pentagon Jr.
Now, is that just going to be a 2-way match, or is that going to be a triple threat tag?
Between who else?
Because we had the best friends come out there, and they talked like they were going to have a good match together before Phoenix and Pentagon come out.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's still a lot of people that are kind of up in the air for that card.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Daniels issued sort of a friendly challenge to SEMA.
Yeah, 6-man tag.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited for that, to see what these Chinese wrestlers will bring to the table.
And I think it'll be definitely a very interesting style, because their aerial sort of style
more of an acrobatic.
Is also focuses a lot more on martial arts and Shaolin.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Maybe
is not
we'll
something we see a
John
lot
Cena
here.
show up with his new move.
Was it the lightning fist?
Yeah.
It made me sad to do that.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed.
I'm disappointed in myself.
A little bit.
Anyway, so that's one of the other things. I'm excited for people like Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah, there's a lot that we don't know what's going to be booked yet, but we know it's coming. Let's talk about
Kylie Ray.
Kylie Ray versus Nyla Rose.
Which I don't think is official.
Not official yet.
Not official. I don't think they officially booked it, but that's the heavy tease.
Okay, so the big controversy here, I'm going to address the issue, especially all over Twitter, is like Irma Gerd, Nyla Rose, transgender, male to female wrestler, identifies as female now, is going to be in the women's division. And, I mean, let's be real here. She's like, I think only like 180 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is not monstrous.
No. It's monstrous for a woman.
Yeah, but I mean, if we think Awesome Kong, Naya, who's like 230, something like that.
Yeah.
Even Tamina, big girl. I mean, it's not unheard of to have a women's wrestler at this weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of interested to see where this goes.
I am too.
Especially this age where we're very Me Too movement pro women, which we should be. I'm very excited to see where this goes. A women's revolution, and having diversity represented across the board, and I'm all for this match. Nyla Rose, also who is the main actress in a TV series now.
Oh, really?
About transgender people.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So pretty cool to watch out for, see where this goes. Also,
Sunny Kiss
one of
is
my
another
favorites.
person.
Yeah, Sunny Kiss. One of my favorites who may be tied to the promotion at some point. Joey Ryan.
Oh, yes.
And will we get to see some intergender matches?
I think definitely we'll probably see.
I think it'll be down the road.
Yeah.
Especially if they're willing to bring in someone like Nyla Rose, and not be prejudiced against this portion of the fan base.
Oh no. I definitely think that.
I think it's great.
Yeah. Nyla Rose and Sunny Kiss specifically, I think, were really good choices in that sort of perspective.
And we could probably do a whole episode just on Sonny Kiss alone.
I love Sonny Kiss.
I have not seen any of his work.
Really?
I have not. Very charismatic, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I enjoyed him, him coming out and everything. But I just want to make note that historically in wrestling, gay characters have always been part of wrestling. Most of them have always been straight people acting as a gay character to get heel heat. But of course, that began to change around Billy and Chuck time. Billy and Chuck got way over playing these androgynous gay characters.
They wanted to get best friends married, right?
Right. They changed it there at the end. The whole time they played it up as them being gay.
Yeah.
Got super over on TV, and to the point where they had to turn face. And we haven't had too many gay characters in the PC age. But it's always been teased a little bit.
And for the LGBTQ wrestlers that are actual performers, it's usually not really brought up.
Right.
When you look at
Darren Young.
Yeah, Darren Young, and I always want to call her by her real name, Sonya Deville.
And, well, excuse me. Well, sexuality doesn't necessarily have to involve in the wrestling career. I don't think that they should just assume by default that they're heterosexual. So, having someone, for lack of a better term, coming out being flaming, why not? Why should anybody hate on this?
And Sonny Kiss is just entertaining, great in the ring too.
Especially when we have Velveteen Dream in WWE, who comes off as this
androgynous
asexual character almost. It really plays off of the old school homosexual character gimmick. And it really has up until the point of him getting over.
I shouldn't say androgynous, but sort of ambiguously sexual.
Yeah, ambiguously bi or ambiguously gay or however you would want to call it. Really the success has gotten over on that aspect of the character. So I've seen a lot of hate on Twitter for Sonny Kiss. I think it's unfounded. And I look forward to seeing what this brings to the table for the community and the wrestling world in general. And Nyla Rose. And then, wrestling connoisseurs all for it.
And I
it's
think
like that meme, change my mind.
I think the other cool thing that came out of the couple of press conferences that AEW has had since we last recorded to sort of establish themselves.
Long time ago.
I think the other fact is that they really seem to have a plan for the first couple of shows. And they're really not they're not putting too much focus on. They are of course focused on the first show, Double or Nothing, because it's sort of a sequel to All In, if you will.
Yeah.
But they also are keeping on the lookout for the future and going through to other shows. They had mentioned when they were in Jacksonville that they're looking at doing a show in Florida later on in the year, probably in the fall-winter time. And just seeing their commitment to really trying to see this through.
Not to mention we talked
and
about
it doesn't feel, and some people had mentioned this earlier, but it doesn't feel as much like it's a vanity promotion.
Yeah.
As other promotions that we've seen that have in fact ended up vanity promotions.
Yeah. We talked earlier about Jericho's already planning to announce the next
Jericho Cruise.
Jericho. Of course, he's signed to AEW
tomorrow
for the next 3 years.
Yes.
So obviously, I would think we may get a pay-per-view at sea.
We did. There was
like a legitimate,
like a full one.
AEW.
Rather than just most of the Sea of Honor tournament and Bucks and Kenny and Kenny versus Jericho, but with tag teams.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what we're going to get. But I would imagine that this is an idea.
Mm-hmm. And I'm all for it.
Yeah.
SCU throws the best parties.
SCU!
And I would love to hear that the Bucks music hit live again. So I'm kind of on a tangent. I've never been, or I didn't always used to be a really big fan of the Young Bucks. I liked them. I've kind of always been sort of peripherally aware of them because they've worked with a lot of my favorite tag teams and like the Briscoes and in Impact and whatnot. And it's only over the past 2 or 3 years, especially with their work on Being the Elite, where we get to see a lot more of the character work they put into it, but also Being the Elite before it became another storyline. You saw a lot of the work that they put into
the behind the scenes sort of stuff, the traveling aspect,
into the traveling, into making their own merchandise, into building connections with other wrestlers and their friendships with them, and how important it always is to them. That I really became a fan of the Young Bucks because of all of that. And seeing that they really genuinely, like, their main objective, and I really feel like this is genuine and sincere, but their main objective in doing AEW and in making this promotion is to help give a lot of people the shots that they wish they could have had when they were younger. And I am all for that. Yeah, absolutely. He's older than you guys, though, but I'm younger than you. I'm younger.
Yeah, I'm older than you think.
I met you on the cruise. I talked to you. I will say
this.
That's why I'm my favorite.
I've watched the Young Bucks through various promotions. I remember them when they started out on TNA, and they were kind of looked at as like, oh, these are like a new Rockers like tag team. Yeah. Some of you old school guys
which they loved because they've gone on record a lot saying that they idolized the Rockers growing up.
So I mean, it was always a shame that they never could gain traction in any of the major promotions, really up until ROH. Yeah, you know, and then just by luck, almost, I guess, connections, if you want to say, or whatever, and they got to Japan.
I think it's both connections and just like pure work ethic.
Yeah, I mean,
because the Bucks have always been on the grind. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people who have great work ethic that just don't get the pieces don't come together. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, with them getting traction, ROH, New Japan, and then their entrepreneurial mentality is, to me, what's really gotten them where they are.
Oh, definitely, absolutely.
They had no quit. There was no choice. There was no option to quit. It was, you have to do this. And I think that's what's going to make AEW a success right there. Yeah. The fact that, one, they made an entrepreneurial empire out of their merchandising sales.
Yeah, which they ran themselves.
Yeah. I totally respect what they've been able to do, even more than what they do in the ring. I can remember when they were just trying to do anything, like, hey, look, I'm going to do a moonsault off this ring post onto the guys on the floor and film it with my iPhone. You know, it's like, hey, I'm not the biggest Young Bucks fan, but I can respect the fact that they're trying to include social media and all this pop cultural stuff into their matches to get attention.
Oh, they've been very, very smart about that.
Yeah, they've been very, very smart about how they've been going about business.
And I think
their stuff is a little spotty for me sometimes. I think they've gotten better as they've gone along. But I will give them credit because I love tag team wrestling. They're all about tag team wrestling.
Oh, definitely.
They're all about being entrepreneurs. So I'll give them complete credit. Totally hope the best for what they're doing and everything. I cannot wait to see them putting tag team wrestling back on the map. You know,
absolutely.
No pun intended. But I've always said that tag team wrestling is the cornerstone, the foundation of a wrestling promotion. So I think AEW will be a success itself just because they're going to put tag team wrestling. It's going to mean something. Yeah. In there.
I mean, it's very. I mean, I shouldn't say it's easy to put together a good roster. but it's very easy once you have a roster to figure out who the single stars are going to be.
Yeah.
But to have a good tag team division,
right, because
is difficult unless you're signing specifically tag teams. I mean, sometimes the magic will strike and you'll find a tag team that works well together out of people you Frankenstein, but
if you look throughout history, a lot of the tag teams always stuck together.
Yeah.
And you don't have that anymore.
No, not a lot. A lot of tag teams, especially in the WWE, not to talk too much about the WWE, but a lot of the tag teams in WWE don't last. And I think a lot of it is because... Well, I think a lot of it is also because a lot of the tag teams that we see, once they get to NXT TV or main roster, are people that they've Frankenstein together through house shows and house shows and house shows and house shows until they found two people that kind of work well together. But they were originally there were two single stars. And you kind of see it in how people like Sasha and Bayley work together versus how the Iconics work together. And it's very different as far as how they work together. You can have tag team finishers and moves and all that, but there's just a certain instinctness that doesn't come really from two single stars.
You can say like friends working together versus two guys that are coworkers.
Yes.
I think we could look at Young Bucks and Cody, like how their chemistry is different than say other people's.
Yeah, or
forced to work
or when you look at SCU. When you look at Kaz and Daniels,
who've been together for
years, for decades,
and known each other even longer, you know.
The way that they work together is very different from, like, I don't know, say yeah. I mean, kind of. If we're going to do that comparison, you can see the difference. You can see the Revival's probably going to get there one day, but you see that Kaz and Daniels are just on a completely different level because they've been doing this together for so long.
We can look back and say you have the Hart Foundation,
yes,
brother-in-laws. Was it U.S. Express, Rotunda and Wyndham, brother-in-laws? The Bulldogs. The Steiners. And then you compare that to some other teams. Sid Vicious and Dan Spivey. You know, teams are thrown together versus, you know, vice versa.
Versus teams that kind of have always been together.
You know, a lot of the old school guys worked together forever, so everybody knew each other, but personalities sometimes didn't click. So, you know, it's just a matter of who wants to do business and who wants to get ahead and who isn't happy. Like, oh, I'm just going to be in a tag team. But I have high hopes for tag teams. And we haven't really had much tag teams signed yet. So we will see where that goes with AEW.
I think the only tag teams that are officially signed are
SCU.
Best Friends, Young Bucks, and probably whatever tag teams come out of the promotion that they're going to be working with in China.
And so it's going to be a big deal with somebody like the Usos or the Revival or the Good Brothers sign. It's going to be huge.
Yeah. And I'm very interested to see where that will take us as far as pro wrestling in 2019 and beyond.
I am also very excited.
For Britt Baker, me too.
Yes, for her. But to see where the women's wrestling goes.
Their division right now is pretty small.
It is, but equal pay. Now that doesn't mean like Britt Baker is going to get what Kenny Omega is going to make, but
man, can you imagine though?
For what you start out at, you know. So if we compare it to WWE, the women make pennies to what the men make.
Oh yeah,
and that's for like the top people. I'm not talking about Ronda. I'm sure she makes way more, but
than everyone.
Like Sasha or Alexa or Bayley, or they're probably making, I don't know, 60, 70, 80,000, compared to like one of the bottom guys on the males roster is probably pulling in at least $300,000. So that's a huge difference in pay. So for them to say the women will make equal to what the men make, so if you have MJF starting out at the bottom and you have Britt Baker starting at the bottom, they're both making the same, and that's equality.
Yeah.
And that is huge for the women's division, because now you're going to get the top women come into the division, and you have to think that anybody in WWE that's looking at their contract coming up, do you want to get paid $100,000?
Do you want to get paid like a star,
or do you want to make twice that going to another company to get a chance to make a name for yourself? 2-3 times that maybe.
And so we're gonna pretty much just read off it says 27 people that are on the AEW roster. I don't know if you saw all of them, but we're gonna go through this list. So Hangman, of course. We got Brandy, who is probably going to be competing, I think probably sparsely.
Yeah. Because
I think she's gonna try and maintain a sort of distance from being within the women's division.
I'm hoping like a Stephanie McMahon sort of role.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Because she can wrestle. She's pretty good at it.
And she can act.
And she can act.
Yeah.
And so I think she's going to be a much better Stephanie McMahon than Stephanie McMahon.
Then we got Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, who actually got her doctorate in dentistry.
How ingenious to actually sign somebody that can fix your wrestler's teeth when they get roasted. Right? Am I right, Christopher Daniels? Right? Maybe. Did you go to Dr. Britt Baker? Because not only did...
DMD.
I mean, they could make this her gimmick, like Kane was there first, but she is actually a dentist.
Yeah,
so
she went to
dental
school.
Surgeon. That's great.
She actually wrestled to get money to go to dental school.
It's crazy.
Isn't that a trip?
I would go to dental school to get money to wrestle.
That's a you got to spend money to make money sort of situation there. But anyway,
Yeah.
Then we got Jericho, of course, Christopher Daniels, Cody Rhodes, Frankie Kazarian.
It's you.
Oh, someone who I forgot about. I can't believe I forgot about him. The bad boy, Joey Janela.
Whose little vignettes have been all over the place. I love it.
I love Joey Janela. He's hysterical.
Not the biggest fan of Joey Janela yet, but I love these little vignettes.
Oh yeah, I like Joey Janela. He's definitely a very interesting case as far as a pro wrestler goes, because he also does a lot of, and his contract with AEW will allow him to continue to do like Joey Janela's Spring Break, which is a pretty yearly. I think it's like this is the fourth year or so of Joey Janela's Spring Break.
Make your talent happy, you're going to have a good roster.
Yeah. Then we got Matt Jackson, of course, one half of the Young Bucks. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, who I think he's someone that's got so much potential.
Yeah.
As far as character work, and then in the ring too, you kind of see it. I mean, you can see where he still needs to improve, and when he's around people that are a little bit too far ahead of him, he comes off looking a little bit like a jabroni. But
the fact that WWE hasn't signed him to be Miz's little brother is mind-boggling.
Yeah, because he's really good.
Really.
Yeah.
Like he could have easily signed to be Miz's little brother, and you could have turned Miz face in the process and have that big.
Yeah, because he's been pushing for the Miz face turn for a while. Yeah. This just says the OWE roster, which is the Chinese promotion.
Really excited for that.
And the Good Hurts. We got Pac. We got the bad girl Penelope Ford. Got Scorpio Sky, Jungle Boy.
She wrestles too?
Yes. She didn't you see she got involved in that match. Mm-hmm. She pulled off some pretty good stuff. We got Jungle Boy, who is actually the son of one of the actors from 90210.
What?
Yeah.
Which one?
The guy that played Dylan or something.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember what his actual name is. I'm a little too young for 90210.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that was his father, because I'm familiar with Jungle Boy, but I didn't realize that Jungle Boy's father was Dylan McKay from 90210.
Luke Perry.
Yeah, there you go.
That was his name.
We got Phoenix and Pentagon Jr., of course, the Lucha Brothers. We got Jimmy Havoc. We got Kong.
I'm marked out.
Yeah, that was a pretty big acquisition, I feel.
I was like, whoa, you're signing a legend.
Yeah.
To your women's division.
I don't know what the parameters of her contract are.
I don't know.
But I mean, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
She's going to be a double or nothing, and I am going to see it. Then you got Yuka Sakazaki. Got Sunny Rose. Got Sunny Rose, Sunny Kiss. I've heard both. I've heard him use both names. Sammy Guevara, who is an up and comer who has competed.
AAA?
Yeah, competed in AAA and also in Major League Wrestling. Kylie Ray, who I think recently won the AEW Women's Championship from Kimberly.
Nice.
We got Nyla Rose, like we were talking about. Got Chuck T. Sexy Chucky T on Twitter and Instagram.
Coming for you, Chucky.
I love Chuck T. I didn't know it was Trent Beretta. I'm coming for you. Yeah. Trent?
Maybe. I'm going to cheat in that match. She's going to win.
And we got Kenny Omega. Of course, the cleaner himself. So, as of right now, their roster looks pretty stacked from an Indie Darling standpoint.
It does. And they have a little bit of something for everybody.
Definitely.
And it still is up in the air whether they're going to work with other promotions besides OEW and AAA. Will they work in New Japan? I kind of feel like New Japan is in a place where they can't say no.
Mm-hmm.
They're wanting to expand out. This is a great opportunity for them to get their talent seen on American audiences without putting the money forward. Honestly. So it would be a good deal for them. Would ROH work with them? I don't know. Impact?
I think Don Callis would probably be open to it because Don Callis has a really good working relationship with Jericho, with Kenny,
Bucks.
with the Bucks.
So, I mean, it's... And Impact has kind of opened up to where they're willing to work with wrestlers to have a bigger open contract so they can work other places, which instead of signing them solely to commit they're wanting to be a little bit more open to the wrestlers to get work.
Well, I mean, I think one of the best examples of that is the fact they just gave their tag team championships to the Lucha Brothers, who have very interesting contracts in that they're allowed to work Impact, they're allowed to work Major League Wrestling, and they're allowed to work AEW as of right now.
Yeah. Although recently Phoenix was injured at a show, so...
They gave an update, and it seems that the injury is not
as bad,
too serious. I mean, he shouldn't really be performing for a little bit of a while, but he should be 100% within like a couple weeks or so.
Good. Especially at this point in his career, I mean, wow, you know. So everything's on the up for AEW, really. I mean, a lot of people are hating on it. I kind of lump these guys into WWE fanboys. Maybe I'm going to say that's all they know is WWE. And but at the end of the day, it's more opportunities for wrestlers.
Absolutely. And I think especially for trying to make wrestling a viable career option and making it a little bit more of a way for people to earn their living rather than people to have to also work first, second, or third job to pay for going into wrestling. It really makes people care a little bit more. And I think it will motivate people and motivate other promotions to take things more seriously and treat their talent a little bit more valuably.
And Matt has been on record already to say that they're looking into getting insurance for the wrestlers.
Which is huge.
Yeah, it's humongous. But if we really look at it, like, Vince has never wanted to do that. Like, they'll take care of somebody that's on their upper tiers and fix them if something bad happens. But if you think about it, the cons, where they already have 2 professional sports teams, I mean, I'm sure that there's an insurance platform.
Oh, absolutely.
That they have leverage to expand to cover professional wrestlers. So it's going to change.
But I mean, that's going to definitely be a huge motivator for a lot of people.
Change the universe.
Because I mean, that's really important. As a professional wrestler, a lot of them are considered independent contractors, so they're responsible for their personal expenses, which is pretty much just they got to pay for almost everything.
Yeah.
Like they have to pay for
or negotiate it.
Well, I mean, if you're not at the point where you can do that, you got to pay for your own flights, you got to pay for your hotel, you got to pay for any medical treatment you got to receive. You get a paycheck from performing, and if you're fortunate enough to be high enough to get some merchandise, you get royalty checks there. But I mean, it can be rough, and it can be incredibly costly when you, let's say you're out for 6 months because you tore your ACL or something like that. I mean, and you like what do you do?
Right.
Because you probably don't have much of a savings because you've been flying around trying to keep up with the tour schedule. You probably don't have access to a lot of really good doctors because you don't have official insurance, so you have to pay out of pocket for certain things. So it's just a very...
Well, that's also why a lot of them actually have real jobs and wrestle part-time on the weekends or whatever.
Yeah, unless you get up to the WWE,
right,
where that is your career. But
which I
a
believe
lot
is
of
the
people...
main reason why Daniel Bryan went to WWE is just because the insurance aspect, and you might as well be making more money and be able to get your deals on the flights and travel and different things like that, whatever you can work out, and make the big money while you can.
Oh yeah. And I mean, he in the Daniel Bryan case, it was just lucky enough that he became such a commodity that they were willing to keep him.
Yeah.
After he was unable, or for the period of time he was unable to perform in a ring. So like it just
there was a lot of,
But there was a lot that went into that, and a lot that went on around it to make it happen. Yeah.
Political aspect. They did not. I mean, you wouldn't want to fire Daniel Bryan for concussions after the huge blowback that would come because of previous aspects with concussions. Nowinski, Benoit, numerous others. Corey Graves.
Oh yeah. Who now has a lucrative career being sometimes, not the most annoying person on commentary. Sometimes. He's all right. I give Corey Graves a lot of crap, but I mean
I don't want to turn this into a Corey Graves video, but study some of the best heel color commentators. Now
I'm gonna say this: make a choice. Make a choice.
What I'm talking about.
Like, you don't have to be a heel commentator.
You can be a face commentator.
You can be a face commentator if you want, but
one or the other.
Pick one.
You don't hate a heel and then next minute you're cheering for a face. It's not how it's done.
You have to make a decision. You have to make a decision.
Heenan.
I get it. Yeah.
Heenan.
That's all I'm saying.
Heenan.
That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Or Ventura.
This is our
Ventura
AEW.
would come out and like if a guy turned heel, he'd be like, finally. He's seen the light. But you used to hate this guy. Yeah, well, look at him. I think I'm gonna like this guy now. It was just simple.
He's wised up.
Yeah, he's wised up.
Anyway.
Maybe it's time Graves wives up.
Anyway, that is our AEW video. Our AEW video. And now we can hopefully crank out 2 more shorter videos, or maybe 3 more shorter videos, and then have a whole bunch of content for you guys before we...
This is going to be my Chucky T, my promo against Chucky T right here.
This is my promo against Trent Beretta, just this. And I'm gonna come out dressed up like Rocky Romero. That is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come out with the eye patch. I'm gonna come out to the.
You'll come with the eye patch and just be like this.
And I'm gonna come out with the eye patch and to the Roppongi 3 or the Roppongi Vice music. Did I tell you? So this is it. For Supercard of Mana, when I come out, it's gonna be to Roppongi Vice. This is my choice. It's gonna be
only if you sing it. You should sing it.
I want to sing it with Rocky Romero because I'm booking him.
Sure that would work.